In the quiet village of Osei, where clay huts lined red earth paths, lived a girl named Nia. She rose before dawn, fetching water, tending goats, and helping elders. Her eyes held fire, her hands held kindness. But beyond the fields and shores, she dreamed. A dream no one dared believe. One morning, dust rose in the distance. The King of Zubari and his convoy arrived, their horses glinting under the sun. Villages gathered, hushed and wide-eyed. Nia stood quietly by the well, unaware that her life was about to change. The king's eyes met hers, curious, deliberate, unmoving. That evening, the king addressed the villagers. He had come seeking not riches, but wisdom and grace. He asked to meet Nia. Her stepmother, shocked and burning with envy, protested. But the king was resolute. "She carries more dignity in silence than many do in crowns," he declared. Back at the palace, the elders objected. "She is a villager," they whispered. But the king silenced them. "Nia will be queen," he declared. She stood before him, trembling, unsure if she belonged in such a world. Still, she bowed her head and said the only words she could, "I accept." Back in Osei, Nia's stepmother seethed with fury. "A peasant girl made queen?" she spat. Jealousy turned to scheming. She spread lies in the village and vowed to follow Nia to the palace. "If I can't wear the crown," she hissed, "neither will she." Thus began the quiet war of hearts. Nia entered the palace with quiet grace, but whispers followed her every step. Servants stared, courtiers smirked. Her hands trembled as she touched the cold marble columns. She was a stranger in silk, surrounded by judgment. Yet she smiled, meek but unbroken, knowing her roots ran deeper than any gold crown. Nia's stepmother arrived at the palace, dressed as a distant aunt. Her tongue dripped with flattery, but her eyes watched for cracks. Whispers became rumors. "She doesn't belong," some servants murmured. The queen was silent. But deep down, she knew. Danger had come wearing the face of family. The stepmother's lies deepen. "She steals from the royal kitchens," she whispered. "She hides letters from the king." Slowly, suspicion clouded Nia's days. Servants avoided her. The king grew distant. Each night, she sat alone beneath the palace tree, clutching silence like a blade against betrayal. The king watched Nia from afar. Doubt crept into his eyes. Her silence was not guilt, but grace. One day he called her into the court. "Speak," he demanded. Nia stood tall and said, "I've worn truth like skin, even when the world chose lies." The room fell into stunned silence. The king summoned all who had spoken against Nia. One by one their stories unraveled. At last her stepmother stood before him. "Why did you come here?" he asked. Her silence spoke louder than any lie. The truth had clawed its way to light, and the palace walls held its echo. Nia did not celebrate her vindication. Instead, she knelt beside the stepmother. "We are both daughters of this land," she said, "but we choose who we become." The court watched, stunned. In that moment, forgiveness became her crown, far brighter than any jewel forged from gold or power. A season later, Nia stood at the palace balcony draped in deep earth tones, the crowd below roaring with joy. Her voice, steady and strong, echoed through the courtyard. "This crown is not mine alone. It belongs to every girl who has been unseen, unheard, but never unloved." Nia walked among the villagers not as a queen above them, but as one of them. She listened to their stories, blessed their children, and rebuilt broken wells. Her rule began not from a throne, but from shared earth, and her people loved her for it, fiercely and without question. Years passed. Nia's stepmother, now older, watched from afar as Nia thrived. In her solitude, she realized that envy had brought her nothing but emptiness. One market day, Nia found her sitting alone. Without words, she reached out a hand. And the stepmother, for the first time, wept with regret. Years later, Griot sang of the queen who rose from dust, who forgave when she could have punished, who built bridges instead of walls. Children played under trees whispering her name, and every time the wind swept the fields of Zubari, it carried her legacy of strength, of grace, of Nia.